A warm welcome back to the channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. In today's aviation news recap, there's coverage on a Dubai-based airline entering new markets with a wide-body. Qantas is boosting flights and making some big route changes. And lastly, Boeing has reported another low month of orders and deliveries. That's where I want to begin today's recap, taking a look at their April 2024 figures, which did represent another low month for the manufacturer, which has continued to face adversity. During the calendar month, the plane maker said it was only able to deliver 24 aircraft to customers right around the world. Of that, a significant portion were for the 737 MAX. This ultimately lower delivery rate follows persistent focus on its production practices, and also the FAA's barring of production increases for its jets. The FAA have been very clear from the first moment. They believe any production increase will be detrimental to Boeing's attempts at instilling a new culture of high-quality production and output. The 737 MAX is currently the focus of attention. It is, at the end of the day, Boeing's best-selling jet and accounts for most of the existing backlog. The FAA wants to ensure Boeing changes its culture and internal practices before allowing production to increase. As Boeing faces this oversight, it also cannot naturally produce planes at the best rate that it is restricted to. Thanks to this, we've already seen reporting that production rates across March and April were said to have dropped further in response to the ongoing audits. Per the latest delivery figures, Boeing has only been able to deliver 107 aircraft to customers across 2024, and not only is this down year over year, but it's just half of what Airbus has been able to achieve. Competitor Airbus says it has delivered over 200 planes across the first 4 months, as it targets 800 deliveries across its commercial aircraft program in 2024. Frustrations from Boeing customers are continuing to mount as the manufacturer deals with associated pressures of being unable to get these planes shipped off on time. Airlines such as Lufthansa are now very publicly voicing their frustrations, stating that delays are costing them significant amounts of money. Ultimately, April was met with substantial cancellations also for Boeing, as Lynx Air, a now collapsed Canadian carrier, shipped off its remaining aircraft orders. We know this company, when it was operational, was an all-Boeing operator and intended on taking more 737 MAX jets to really grow its fleet. Per Boeing's latest report, the former Canadian carrier accounted for 29 737 MAX jet cancellations. However, across the total month, order cancellations came in at 33, representing 4 more, on top of the 29 from Lynx Air. 7 gross orders were recorded in April, and net orders factoring in your cancellations and obvious conversions that can take place have totaled around 100 since the beginning of the year. We saw orders from several customers that I will get into in another video, with also undisclosed customers taking on 787 Dreamliners. On to the next story in today's aviation news recap, and that focuses on Qantas, who have announced that from the 28th of July this year, they will axe services between Sydney and Shanghai. The Australian flag carrier just generally cites that there is low demand, this being the key reason for service cancellation that has just been unveiled. Sydney to Shanghai actually operated before the emergence of the global pandemic, but when you factor in the colossal impact we saw not just on China but Australia, this route was obviously suspended. It was then reintroduced not that long ago actually, only in October of 2023, and while there were forecasts for great levels of demand, ultimately Qantas's strong load factors that they expected have not actually taken place, and certainly not recovered to levels that are sustainable for the route to continue for the foreseeable future. Despite the airline's plans to leave Shanghai now not for the first time, Qantas is not ruling out returning to the location at some point in the near future. This means that they will continue to monitor the market between Australia and China with a focus on Shanghai. When the airline deems it is appropriate to return and say demand has officially surged back and there is evidence behind that, it'll definitely look to relaunch these services for the second time in quick succession. When that is, though, remains to be seen. It is definitely hard to predict the levels of demand in such a fluctuating market. For those booked on service between Sydney and Shanghai, after July 28, while the airline says it will not just offer a full refund, but also for customers that don't want to take this route, they'll have options for alternative travel. In response to the service cancellation, Qantas has said that it will utilize the aircraft previously served to Shanghai for deployment elsewhere. In yesterday's video, I took a look at some of the changes being implemented across the Qantas network, with more flying towards Singapore and India, and these are obviously the ramifications that can be possible with a network reshuffle. A really big focus will be on redeployment towards Asia, which is a booming market for the airline. Not only do they want to increase to existing destinations, but potentially tap into new tourism opportunities that are available to them. Qantas says that they continuously assess their route network to determine if changes are required to their overall service. Additionally, they will not hesitate to make changes where possible, so the situation at Shanghai, while upsetting, if deemed for the greater good, will be made. On to the final story, and flydubai is set to enter a new era of its company with the arrival of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. On the sidelines of the Arabian travel market, which commenced on May the 6th and ran towards May the 9th, the Dubai-based airline shared updates regarding its long-term future, and it involved the 787. You may recall that flydubai announced a landmark deal for the Dreamliner at the 2023 edition of the Dubai Air Show. This also represented the first wide-body order from the company. The deal includes 30 units, all for the popular 787-9, and at the time of the purchase, the airline said that innovation was at the heart of the company and their commitment to offering the best product had to be present. The 787 was expected to do that. So just what is next? Well, as flydubai inches closer to first delivery, according to the Flight Club, airline executives have identified several new target locations. This includes London and Bangkok, but most interestingly, for me at least, the airline has a strong appetite for scheduled services to Australia. Basically, the range of the Dreamliner is expected to really help the company as they expand to new markets, and obviously with more units arriving as the years continue, more cities will be added. For flydubai, however, they may very well become the next airline to deal with ongoing delivery delays from the aircraft manufacturer. The CEO actually also confirmed that a 2026 timeframe for first delivery might not be met, so they can't necessarily reveal firm route plans as they try and navigate the associated turbulence for Boeing's inability of delivering these planes when they had initially expected them. This is something we're hearing far too often, and while a lot of the focus will go on Boeing, as arguably it is far worse, this is also happening at Airbus as airlines have to navigate delays experienced with their aircraft coming from the European manufacturer. Definitely an industry-wide problem that these manufacturers are going to be doing everything in their power to try and sort out, because their customers are certainly feeling it. And there's nothing worse than not being able to get an aircraft out on time and then also having to deal with compensation related to that. This will conclude, therefore, your aviation news recap. If you've got any thoughts on the stories I talked about in today's video, you know the best place to leave them is down below in the comments. Thanks a lot for your support. I'm really glad you've been enjoying the videos. Hopefully, I will indeed see you same place, same time tomorrow for your latest industry news.